Give it a pop, bam, pow. I hope they didn't hear that part.
When is it started?
I think so. But we can just do this for a little while.
Till we see it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, nothing yet.
Oh,
We're still... We're getting there? It's loading?
I think so. There we
Yeah.
are.
Well,
We're never sure when we're actually live.
True.
It slowly pops up and tells us eventually. So
That's
we were
too
just
funny.
vibing.
It's like a 20 second delay until we see it from like the program that we're on it, and then actually if we're on it. So the first 15 seconds of the cafe is just us gonna be like wild Pokemon just waiting to be caught.
Obviously, this is the Medicare Cafe pre-chat.
Yes.
So we're just letting everybody gather, kind of getting everything together. We'll get started right at 10, but Ben and I have just been hanging out here for a little bit, talking about it, and I had a question for you that I wanted to pose, but I can't stop doing this.
I know, it's kind of it's like therapeutic. Yeah. It's like I can't be not happy while I'm just kind of bobbing back. We're gonna give someone like motion sickness from just like the subtle sway back and forth.
At least the camera's good now.
That's true.
With the old camera that we had for recording, whenever we would sway like that, it'd probably try to like refocus 30,000 times.
It just looked like we were doing this back and forth.
Loading some old computer thing.
Too funny.
But no, we were looking at a few different things, playing around, and stumbled across a good Would You Rather that I wanted to dive into for just a couple seconds.
A classic.
Because would you rather, and please feel free to pop yours in the comments while we're goofing off, getting ready to start the cafe today. But would you rather get stung by a bee every single day? You can have full communication with this bee. You can say, hey, sting me in my arm right here. Let's go.
Okay.
Or have a snake that won't harm you, but is just slithering around your house as a guest of your home that is a permanent resident, so not a guest. Just hanging out. Won't harm you, though. But he has full range to do whatever else he wants.
Okay. I have 2 follow-up questions.
Okay.
1, do I get to talk to all bees or only my bee?
Your bee.
Okay.
No other bees will sting you. He'll take the message back and say, I got this one.
Oh, wait. So the immunity from other bee stings?
Yes, because you're getting stung every day.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Like if you got stung twice.
Yeah.
That's too much.
That's the like, you. Okay, but then the snaky boy, you said it's a permanent resident, a permanent view, or like permanent resident of the house.
That's his house.
Does it follow me if I leave the house?
No, it stays in the house.
So it is confined to the house.
Yeah. Your yard, your property, whatever you've got, it's his house too.
What if I have like a lake house? Does it just magically appear at the lake house? Or does it get to pick which one it shows?
One house.
He just gets one house? Okay.
Yeah. That's his home.
See, when I was a small child, I got stung by a bee, and it's been a traumatic experience ever since then. So I feel like I'm for sure going with the snaky boy.
So here's my thoughts, because I am definitely team get stung by a bee.
Dude, it's just so painful.
You build up some kind of tolerance to it, though.
Or bee venom gets stronger every time it happens.
It could.
We don't know.
I'm not a scientist, Ben.
I'm not a bee expert.
But, again, if you just joined us, this is just Medicare Cafe pre-chat. We'll get started here in a few minutes. Just playing a quick Would You Rather. Yeah. And I would much rather get stung by a bee every day than have a snake in my home. Snakes freak me out. They don't have arms and legs. It's not okay.
Neither do worms.
Not okay.
What, you don't like worms?
Worms are fine.
Yeah.
My logic falls apart very fast.
Gotcha. Okay.
But like, if I'm just like, hey, bee, like this arm today, let's go. This is fine. And then I build up that. It might have some few welts after a few days. Right. Then you switch.
Do you know if you're allergic to bees?
I have been stung before, and I don't remember anything horrible happening.
So it was so bad that you just blocked that memory out of your... Oh my goodness. Wait, that's scary.
But, snake are just not fun creatures to have around.
Dude, they're just little snacks.
Little nope rope.
Exactly. I was going to say danger noodle, but like ideally this snake is not dangerous.
No,
so
it won't harm you.
Yeah. So just imagine like waking up dabbing up the snake and then moving on with your day. Like that sounds amazing to me.
I don't want to be boys with that snake.
I guess I had. Did you have like reptiles growing up?
I had a leopard spotted gecko.
Leopard spotted gecko.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It might still be alive underneath my parents' patio. Who knows?
Just thriving.
We were cleaning its cage when I was or aquarium, whatever it's called, when I was little, and it got away, and it went underneath there, and we never saw it again. My dad would continuously mess with me over the years, tell me how big this thing has got, until I was old enough to be like, nah, it's not.
Well, apparently they do match the size of whatever cage that they are in, and if the world is its cage,
it's pretty good sized patio. Like it's probably a couple of these wide. It's not huge, but just kind of walks down to their yard. But
that's nice. I had a bearded dragon growing up, so like I like
those are the ones that danger.
Yeah, they do. They do like they'll wave. They'll be like, what's up? He was super chill until he got like super sick and then passed away. But don't worry about it. That's fine.
Welcome to the cafe.
True. I think we're approaching here the top of the hour. I need to like not sit like an absolute gremlin. We're getting
I'm
here.
Not taller than Ben.
I just have a super short torso.
Yeah,
and I'm like also like I don't know.
You do have a short torso.
We do this every time when Alex and I sit at the cafe. Like we are the same height standing next to each other, but all of my height is hip down.
All legs,
Exactly. Whereas he has like a normal sized torso, so it looks like that. You were like, but you're not a head and a half taller than I am. So it's kind of funny.
I'll come down here a little bit.
I'll just try to get comfortable or whatnot.
It's 10.
So we did it. We stalled long enough until we could actually start. So today we're going to be kind of continuing the series. If you guys joined Olivia last week, we had some issues at the office, so we weren't able to have the cafe here at the office. But she did host a home version, a 2020 throwback style cafe, where she went over, Ask Me Anything, went over a couple of different steps. And had like a quick cafe. So still would recommend watching that one if you get the chance. But we're going to be going over today, basically part 2 of our AEP roadmap. We are towards the end of June already here, which is kind of scary and crazy to think about. But that means AEP is fast approaching. And so we want to go ahead and kind of rip off the Band-Aid and mention that, hey, these are some tips and tricks that you can kind of take advantage of during AEP after you've done the prep work that we discussed. I think it was 2 weeks ago now.
2 weeks ago, we kind of laid out a month-by-month calendar of some things to keep in mind. So going all the way up until September, where we paused. So then we could pick up, okay, that was your AEP prep. Here we are. It's AEP. Let's fast forward a couple months and say, we're in it. What are we doing? Perfect. This is kind of a quick overview of what you could be looking at each month. You all obviously have your processes of what you want to do, what you normally do. But we wanted to kind of lay it out there for maybe some of our new folks, or kind of learn some different aspects that might be able to help you out as you kind of go along.
I think also it's kind of unique to understand or kind of revisit kind of systems and processes on a frequent basis, because sometimes you get into such a routine that you may be hesitant to see maybe what things you may have done previously. And so having these types of conversations can kind of shake up the bolts a little bit, and then you can find that one that's been rattling for like the past 3 months, and you're like, I have something like that in my car right now. It's not fun, but we'll go ahead and kind of tackle this here. So obviously AEP, we want you guys to harvest all of the hard work that you guys had been utilizing and putting into pretty much since the beginning of the year. We always mention that the first time or the first section to start preparing for AEP is December 8th. And so getting and swinging right back into the swing of things. But quarter 4 is your time to capitalize and really reap the benefits of your guys' hard work. I mean, we talked about it 2 weeks ago. All the prep work that you guys have done and are continuing to do, it's time to kind of bear the fruit of that.
Right. The first 9 months of the year is AEP prep. Yeah. For a lot of our agents, some of our folks, this is just quarter 4. It's med sub time still. We actually see this being one of the bigger months or bigger quarters of the year for med subs, because people are hearing talk about healthcare.
Yeah.
They're listening to all that. They're digesting it, and they think, do I need to make a change?
Yeah.
So definitely don't hesitate to reach out to your Med Sup folks. Today, we're going to focus a lot more on just AEP and working with Medicare Advantage. One key point that I wanted to talk about was the clear, consistent communication is your key to success.
True.
This is not only for talking to your clients, which obviously you're going to need to do. We'll kind of highlight some things to do with that. But this is also clear for your admin staff, for your family, for your support system, which is one of the points on there, was to have a good support system. Be clear, communicate with them what's going on, because people outside of this industry don't really fully understand what AEP is, what that entails. So you got to be upfront with them, of reminding them of what season we're getting into. My wife knows our busy season starts in about September for us here, but she knows, like, all right, there might be a little bit more stress. There might be a little bit more days that we go to Las Margaritas and enjoy a margarita on the patio.
Exactly. Exactly. You have to, I mean, also just kind of having clear, kind of the consistent communication with yourself as well. Prepping, we did all of this here and foremost, but also just understanding yourself that, hey, we're about to get into a real crazy, busy time. I think you mentioned it a little bit, having clear communications with your clients as well. Mentioned also with like your Med Sup clients, they're going to be seeing a lot of marketing advertisements on the television, in the mail, the newspaper, magazine, whatever your clients may be digesting the media from. A majority of carrier and governmental affiliated programs, marketing dollars are being spent during the final quarter to mention some of the changes or things that a client may have access to. So having consistent communications, not only throughout the year, but specifically during this time of the year is real key. And that allows you to work smarter. We talk about utilizing the prep work that you did, but using that preparation to your advantage. You were prepping all of the e-app. You have a better understanding of what those look like. You have maybe some familiarity with a couple different enrollments that you may have put into place during the summer. Utilize that now. You've been practicing. You've been prepping. So work smart. You don't have to, do everything old school or do everything in a way that will drain you in the first 2 weeks of AEP, because it's a marathon, not a sprint.
For sure. It's a work smarter, not harder thing.
Yeah.
You set all this stuff up. Let's use it now.
Exactly.
So let's jump in.
Let's do it.
To
one of these slides.
One of them.
Bam.
October.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm really good at pronouncing stuff. So first thing that you want to do, I would say on or after October 1st, is let's start sending it.
Send it.
Let's send those ANOC reminders. Your clients have probably received something from their, or should have received something from their previous carrier, current carrier. Words are hard, pronunciations not, though, for some reason.
No, I mean,
tomato. But sending out your own type of reminder. So sending out something that tells them, hey, this plan that you're currently on is good. This is going to continue to be good. Yep. Or, hey, the plan that you're currently on has made some changes. We might need to look at some things.
Yeah, I think the annual notice of change is something that is frequently underutilized. It does have a lot of really good information. I think the biggest reason that it's maybe underutilized is it goes to the clients usually, and the client doesn't necessarily always understand or really want to read all of the carrier material that they get.
Yeah.
So sending out a reminder saying, hey, this is, if you're going to read one piece of information from your carrier, this would be the one that I'd recommend as your agent, because it's going to outline anything that may be changing, which will pertain specifically to you. And you also have on here AEP newsletter. So I know we have a couple of options here for that. So
yeah, definitely just something that lets them know what season we're in. That's part of that clear, consistent communication. That if you send out a newsletter that tells them what we're in AEP, it's time to make sure that you've gotten these kind of letters from everyone, that we're looking at your plans, evaluating. And we did put on there for, I think it was September, maybe August, but to get people to start sending your drug list. So this is another thing that we want to make sure that you're following up on those drug lists. Yes. So if there are some medications that don't make sense or unclear dosage, however, the capsule, tablet,
Yep.
the typical kind of things that you'll run into.
Yeah.
Time to start following up on those, making sure that you got accurate information. This is another great job for like an admin person in your office
Very true.
to start calling some of those people and say, hey, can you ask them about X, Y, and Z drug?
Yep.
And just have that kind of notes where, again, clear, consistent communication.
Yep.
Put that stuff in your CRM of any updates or any changes that need to be made, that you called them to ask about it,
Yeah.
anything like that. And then the last point that we have on for October is seminars and events.
True.
Because we talked about planning those seminars, planning those events with the carrier reps.
Yeah.
And for September, October is probably the time that you're going to be doing most of those.
We definitely see probably a higher tick amount of events and seminars get put into place, or especially ones that are registered. With them being registered or whatnot, traditionally it's right around this time. So you would have done the prep work with your carrier representatives and having those kind of get registered through CMS through that carrier. And honestly, just it's a time after October 1st, so AEP's in full swing. You can actually have some of those conversations now. I will kind of throw the caveat here. This AEP is going to look a little different. We do have the CMS compliance changes that have gone into effect here September 30th this year. So it is going to take, obviously, the full effect of AEP. And we're still, to my knowledge at the very least, still waiting and holding out for the sub-regulatory guidelines. There were a lot of changes to training or educational events and seminars. So I think we're going to see, ideally we'll have those sub-regulatory guidelines at some point here.
Yeah.
Obviously our office will do our part in making sure all of our agents associated are aware of that as soon as possible. And we will do our part on the Cafe Facebook page to make sure you guys stay informed. But I think we're going to see those changes. And so just something to keep in mind. If you are doing seminars and events, you will be held responsible for the new guidelines that will be in place, again, effective September 30th. And I know you mentioned that we had skipped the second point here, so I'll go back to that. Knock out your clients that don't need to move first. A lot of the preparation work that you may have put into place, including grabbing drug lists, grabbing pharmacies, that whole 9 yards, you will have likely already spent the time and looking through, pulling some of those drug lists or pulling some of those quotes and see, hey, is there going to be a big change? A lot of these carriers are going to have first looks start rolling out. You're going to get a pretty good understanding of
Pretty early, yeah.
Hey, what carrier, if I have all my business with, say, I don't know, like a Humana prescription drug plan, but when I was at the Humana rollout, they're focusing their efforts towards something else, and may be worthwhile that I need to put a star next to all my Humana business, that I need to relook at their stuff. So knocking out those clients that we mentioned don't need to move first. So having done the prep work, you understand that their plan is going to continue to be strong. You don't anticipate any big changes. Let those people know. Send out 2 letters. Make one green, make one red. That's not helpful for me because I'm colorblind. So maybe go like yellow and blue. But when your client exactly something, or like put a little emblem in the top right-hand corner versus the top left corner, something along those lines. That way, when that client calls in, because they're going to call in likely at some point, the admin staff or yourself can say, hey, did you receive the notice that we sent you? And if you did, where is that emblem? What color is the piece of paper? We actually went ahead and, depending on what they say, we actually went ahead and took a look at your drug list. We don't see that much change is happening. So, we're still happy to assist you if you would like to go through anything, but we kind of did that precursor information and don't anticipate that you really need to make a move, at least at this current time.
And I see we have a question from Michelle. When will your approved annual policy review letters be on the website? Typically, I want to say that's an August, September thing.
I think that's pretty...
But I'll make sure we make note to kind of holler at marketing, and then we can either text you or give you a quick email, let you know when those will come out.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that people use them. So thank you so much, Michelle, for outlining that. That's something you're actively wanting. I know marketing is constantly knocking on our doors, trying to figure out, hey, what are agents using? What can we put our efforts towards to make sure we're providing stuff to you guys that is actually beneficial. So, do you have anything else for October?
I don't.
Cool. Then we'll move right into November.
November.
Yes, my apologies. You are the expert in pronunciation.
Yes, of course.
So this was a good month that we outlined. Follow up with your current book who need to look at changing plans. So obviously the October part, you want to try to knock out a good chunk of the ones that may not need to make a change. November, honestly, second half of, last couple weeks of October leading into November, you're going to start seeing a lot of those people that are going to take a bit more effort, maybe a bit more time. You're going to have to start looking at the people who actually need to change their plan. Maybe they've had a new drug come on board, or use a different pharmacy, have made some changes.
Lost a provider, whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
If they need to change plans, that's people, your current book, who you need to start reaching out to.
Yeah.
Nope. Thanks, Michelle. She has an eagle eye and noticed the very bottom point there in November of celebrating Clayton's birthday, because my birthday is November 30th,
Yep.
which I'm sure will come up again. But me and Olivia have the same birthday. I'm just a year older. So in her eyes,
first.
yeah, in her eyes, I'm an old man, even though we're 1 year different. And it was my birthday first, so like I get to celebrate first. Little rant for today.
I think that is how that goes.
So we're talking about the changing clients. We want to also look at the people who still need to send you a drug list.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before. A lot of this is we've talked about this. Okay, now make sure people are doing it.
Yeah.
So we've talked about sending out the request for a drug list early in your AEP prep. However, we all know how that goes. There's the people that didn't send it. You want to start reaching out to them to ask them about change.
Yeah.
Any change in drugs, if anything, if you stop taking anything, do we need to look at a different plan? Again, this is a great job for the admin type person in your office. However, this is something you can do as well, because you get on the phone with them, tell them to send your drug list, set the appointment, send them the scope, do all of that right there. And then the next point I have is the service area reduction. So consider your clients that you know are going to fall into the SARs.
Yeah.
So they're looking at, they have a product that is leaving that area. So they're actually going to get an additional enrollment period. And you can use that up until the end of the year.
Yeah.
So consider moving those appointments. If your schedule's jam-packed, you don't have room on your calendar to fit them, call them, let them know their situation, and say, don't panic. We can take care of this after the end of annual enrollment of December 7th.
Yeah, they're going to see a lot of communication coming their way because their service area that they're a part of is reducing. They're going to see some type of information, not to mention they're going to have every other agent probably trying to reach out to them, or, just the traditional AEP kind of marketing strategy, kind of putting a lot of that to rest with your client saying, hey, I understand I've already, marked you on my calendar as someone who is going to need to make some type of change. We can do that. I want to make sure that I'm giving you my full attention, and I can really only truthfully do that outside of AEP. It's because it's such a unique situation. SAR, service area reduction appointments do look a little different than a kind of traditional AEP one. So you may have some more explaining to do about maybe why it's being reduced.
Why this is the thing.
Exactly. So I think separating those two not only keeps your AEP in a very good fluid motion. You don't have to kind of jump from AEP brain to SAR brain back to AEP. Splitting those up allows you to kind of work more smoothly, more organized. Again, we're trying to work smarter, not harder, all while having constant communication with your clients. Honestly, I feel like those three things are pretty much a very reoccurring theme during AEP. And kind of once you've done that with your current book, then obviously the whole goal of AEP, if we can really help it, is trying to get new clients. Expanding the book of business, growing if we can do that. You may have some experience with your seminars and events that you may have had earlier in AEP. Usually around this time, you want to try to maybe follow it up with anybody who may have reached out to you during that time. If you haven't already got them on the calendar or an appointment with them, continue to ask for referrals. Carrie is the queen of referrals here. She would probably say it much better than we can. But you kind of, outlining to your referral partners that this is the time of the year that if they have anyone that may need to make a change, now's the time that they need to know it. Because they're a referral partner. They're not in this space. They may not be aware of it.
Yeah, and just continue to keep asking that current book that you're following up with. Make sure that say, hey, if you got any friends that need anything to take care of, please have them give me a call. Just remember the rules about how you can reach out to prospects, basically how you cannot.
Yeah.
But remember those rules. Keep that in mind whenever you're booking appointments, everything like that, or talking to folks. So, but another big thing in November, typically towards the end of November, we put around Thanksgiving to start checking the status of those applications that you've already sent in. I put it in the end of November. It could be a December thing, just as this kind of your personal preference of where you put this. But it's a good time to start checking, like, okay, do I have any pending apps? Did I miss a signature? Did I miss this? Did I miss that? And what is the status of that appointment?
Yeah.
So this is something you hop on the carrier portals, which if you prepped right, you know those, you know where to go, know how to check them. But let's say you're not seeing something or something's not showing accurately. Great time to reach out to your upline, give them the information, have them work on that for you while you can still be sitting in some more appointments. Another great job for your admin person to do. They could give us a call, give your upline a call, whoever that might be. Just know that carrier hold times are going to be a little long.
Yeah.
This is me and Ben's game during AEP. On the phone with carriers, trying to figure these things out, playing around with portals. So end of November makes the most sense to me, just so you have time to work through any possible oh crap situations.
Exactly. I'd 100% agree with that. You know, Clayton mentions kind of the hold times on that. That's, I think, a really underthought about part of AEP. Not only are the agents busier, but so are the carriers.
Yep.
So processing time, the whole 9 yards is going to be extended through and through. I think people always ask, like, what are things that we are suggesting for carriers to change? And I'm a big advocate for hold music. Like, it would be great to have, like, good music while I'm on hold with insert carrier for 45 minutes. So, you know, if you're talking to your carrier reps, just try to, you know, throw them the idea of make sure they've got good hold music. It'll change the mood for sure.
Start vibing.
Exactly. We'll just start dancing again. That moves us straight into December. Which is December. Yeah, my apologies. December. The technical term. Well, honestly, December is left for exactly as Clayton mentioned, the oh crap moments or the emergency phone calls. You know, we talk about it a lot. Who hasn't answered? Who is the people that I was supposed to get a hold of, but they haven't gotten back to me? This is kind of your buffer time. You have exactly 7 days to kind of wrap up those things before you have to wait another year to really do some of that. You're going to have clients who called in, well, I totally forgot it was AEP. Or I'm sure there's probably a couple names maybe popping up in your guys' mind of the person who, my dad is one of them, procrastinates. He is someone that waited until like the day before he was outside of his enrollment period to get A and B. So that doesn't stress me at all. No, we're totally fine. But just those types of things, you're gonna have those pop up. It's better to prep the room and the wiggle room in your schedule. That way, if those things are pop up, you're able to kind of serve them, because you will create such a good relationship with the people that you quote unquote drop everything to help. Yeah. And it's going to come off that way because you're like, well, I've only got 3 days left. You have to help me. And be like, okay, let me move some things around. I will help you. That creates a client for life.
Ooh, and something I didn't think about put on here or until this very moment, because new rules going back to the 48-hour scope. Yep. Remember how that works with the end of the enrollment period. Is it 4 days?
Should be 4 days, yes.
4 days. Ben's much better with compliance than I am. So in the last 4 days of an enrollment period, that 48-hour scope gets thrown out, correct? Back to 24 hours?
Obviously, you still need to collect a scope of appointment. However, you're not as held responsible to the 48-hour turnaround time. It gives the client and agent enough time to actually kind of work together because you're getting close to the end of your enrollment period.
Yeah. So good thing to do, like Ben said, leave some time on your calendar or those first couple days or last few days of December. Or December 7th. Yeah. Days leading up to it, leave a few days open on your calendar too for 100%. Emergency stuff like that. And follow up with those clients early that you had, the early people, your October people. Make sure that they're still good, that they haven't changed anything. Again, it's a great time to check the status of those applications to see if something has gone missing. Yeah. Because the last app wins. Yeah. So the people you signed up October 15th, hopefully will still be on your books December 6th and 7th, but It's a great time to check, make sure everything's good. Because you know how that goes. People just get confused.
Yep.
They think they're switching or they think a carrier is calling them.
Yep.
Whatever the case might be, want to make sure that they're still on your books. And it kind of goes right into pending apps. 7 days to make corrections in December. That's all we got. So let's make sure everything's good. Check the apps. Make sure everything's in place.
It really is crunch time. I mean, if you're hitting December, you are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. That is the end of AEP, and it's a time not to kind of leisurely stroll into the last of it. It's time to lock down the hatches and really kind of push your way through. You have a full week to finalize your best AEP yet. So again, just as Clayton said, last app wins. Not only is this a great thing to make sure that your current book of business is being protected, but it also may be an opportunity for you to still reach out to others. If you are meeting with people in the last couple of days, last app wins. So it's an opportunity for you to make sure you're still servicing clients and being credited for those clients as well. And then we talked about the service area reduction clients as well. Yeah. This is something that
your post December 7th plan.
Exactly. You have that first week is still AEP themed. Maybe take 2 days to catch your breath. My birthday's December 1st, so I don't get the luxury of outside of AEP birthday either. So Clayton, it's his, we celebrate, then it's mine, and then we celebrate the whole 9 yards. So, but take that time to catch your breath. Give yourself a day or two. You will have just gone through 7 weeks of a very intensive, I was going to say training, but it's not even training. It's just an intensive industry. Yeah. We talked about having your support system early on, making sure you have some ways to bring food, vitamins, rest. These things are important. True, honestly. I mean, at some point or another, relax however you need to relax, and maybe a slight better way to answer that. But I mean, if you end up sick, in the hospital, sadly we see that quite frequently. Agents will work
once a year. We have one agent that just went way too hard and didn't take care of themselves properly. And
instead of during a time when you should be writing business and maybe seeing a majority of your income, if you're in the hospital, you're incurring bills and not writing clients. Yeah. So I know a lot of people will want to work as hard as possible, and I implore you to work hard. But also take care of yourself, right? Because without you, business can't be written. So then after you kind of catch your breath or whatnot, do switch into making sure everything is taken care of for your service area reduction clients. It gives you another opportunity to take care of them. And just, again, followed up communication. Yep. So it's 3 months. It's not a full 3 months. Yeah. And it goes by quick.
Yeah, we say Q4 is AEP, but kind of.
Yeah, it's not. It's some of Q4, which is crazy.
Some things to keep in mind, things to be thoughtful of during AEP. We went over, but also remember, you will have people that will call you after December 7th who only had annual enrollment as an option to enroll. That if they're still on an MAPD plan, have to wait then until January 1st to start doing OEP stuff. Yep. Can't advertise that, can't market that. However, you can let them know, we can look at this, insert later.
Yes, insert later. Or use it as an opportunity to say, prepping the rest of December for your Q1 follow-ups. Yep. Q1 is a huge time where other agents try to find the opportunity. And we're going to touch a bit more on this during part 3 of our AEP roadmap, which I believe is post-AEP.
A trilogy.
Yeah, it is. It's
the next great trilogy.
Exactly. It's one that's combating Lord of the Rings and the whole 9 yards. Sure. So, yeah, it's right up there with them all. So, I think that's going to be a really interesting and fun conversation. But again, don't get ahead of yourself. There's still plenty of prep time. We have had a lot of certifications come out recently. If you're not a part of the Facebook group, that's not the right slide, the Facebook group or whatnot, I highly recommend joining that as well. Clayton has a couple posts that have gone out recently that outlined a whole bunch of the dates for those different certification carriers. We mentioned some other things that have been released in our personal state as well as coupon codes for Lead Center. So if you're ever interested in that kind of stuff as well, you see those all as part of our Facebook. Again, you can search Medicare Cafe Agent Facebook group on Facebook, or you can text Olivia if you really need to.
We don't have the text line today.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention that. We probably should have. This line, it was gone. It was.
We didn't get it.
We didn't get it. We won't get it now either if you try to send it. But you should guys just text Olivia that like Ben and Clayton did great. The studio didn't catch on fire, which is her number one concern always.
Whenever we're
exactly.
in charge,
It's but I mean, you can feel free if you do text this or whatnot. Olivia will get it, and we can make sure that you get an invitation or some type of link if you're having troubles finding the Facebook page. We'd be happy to help you guys out any way that we can.
It's a no, Ben.
It's not wanting to do the thing that I want it to do. I was going to get rid of the text line. That way people stop texting us.
But
bam. Nailed
That's
it.
all we got for you today.
I think that was it. If there's not any outstanding questions, you guys are doing great. I know it's I think that's one thing that like kind of gets lost in some of this. We can very easily tell you what to do, what's next. But also you guys are out there making a living for yourself. You are independent agents that are actively affecting people's lives with their health coverage. So it's okay to take a second, give yourself a pat on the back. You guys are doing work that is really appreciated. As someone who's recently lost someone who was elderly, the seniors do mean a lot in our lives. And the work that you guys doesn't go unnoticed.
For sure.
So I won't go into details, but just know that the work that you guys are doing does make a big difference for a lot of people. And I think now is a time that a lot of people may not always feel that. So the prep work is crazy.
The prep work's crazy. And you probably don't want to be thinking about AEP at this moment, but like we're here to remind you, like you probably should be a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Alrighty. Well, perfect, guys. I appreciate you guys stopping in. I don't know. Did we ever say our names?
Clayton.
Clayton.
And you all have fun,
make money,
and give impeccable service.
Have a good one, guys.
See you guys.
Peace.